Hi everyone, welcome to Edubbey Global Solution. Today we'll be looking at homeostasis. The cells within any living organism will only function properly in the correct conditions. The conditions outside the body, the external environment, are continuously changing, but the body has mechanisms of adjusting conditions within the body so that conditions around the cells remain constant. Now, that brings us to the definition of homeostasis. Homeostasis is therefore the maintenance of constant internal environment. Thermoreceptors are in the skin. As a sense organ, one of the properties of the skin is to be able to detect temperature change in the external environment. Changes in the blood temperature are detected by the hypothalamus, situated on the underside of the brain. The dash, fill in the missing word. The dash serves as the barrier between the body and the environment. Okay. So on this slide, we have a diagrammatic representation of the skin, showing us the sweat gland, oil gland, hair follicle, blood vessels, nerve, and the receptor right here. Concept of homeostatic control by negative feedback. Homeostasis involves control by negative feedback. If the body temperature rises, temperature receptors in the skin send information to the brain. In response, the brain starts off mechanisms that will lower the temperature again. In negative feedback, a change sets off a response that cancels out the change. So that's the concept of negative feedback. Fill in the missing word. Changes in the blood temperature is detected by the dash of the brain, by the hypothalamus of the brain. And that was correct. Thank you. Control of glucose concentration in the liver. Concentration of glucose in the blood is maintained by two hormones, insulin and glucagon. The hormones are produced in the pancreas. Insulin is released when blood sugar is too high. It stimulates the removal of glucose from the blood. It controls the conversion of glucose to glycogen. While glucagon, on the other hand, is released when blood sugar is too low and it stimulates the release of glucose into the blood. It controls the conversion of glycogen to glucose. So, a question related to this explanation says, which statement about the hormone insulin is correct? It states it's produced by the liver and raises blood concentration. No, we're not going to go with that. Although the whole action of maintaining the blood sugar level is carried out by the liver, but the hormone is actually produced, the hormone insulin is produced by the pancreas, not the liver. So it is produced by the pancreas and lowers the blood sugar concentration will be the correct answer. So on this slide, we'll be watching a short video on
So what is
homeostasis.
homeostasis? Homeostasis is a term first defined by Claude Bernard in 1865. It means maintaining a constant internal environment. Wow, great. That really explains it, doesn't it? Let me try and make it a bit clearer then. Imagine the cockpit of a plane. It is packed full of dials and it is the pilot's job to make sure they all stay in the right place. If any of them change, he will correct the plane to keep them in the right place and the plane in the air. This is a bit like how our brain works. Sensors all around the body are measuring various things and sending the information back to the brain. The brain then does its best to keep all these things stable and constant to keep the body working properly. This is homeostasis, maintaining a constant internal environment. So what kind of things need to be kept constant in the body? Well, it's very important to keep our temperature the same at around 37 degrees Celsius. You can find out more about this in the video on temperature regulation. You also need to keep the levels of sugar in the blood constant along with levels of ions and water. Your blood pressure needs to be carefully monitored along with the amounts of waste in the blood such as carbon dioxide and urea. Okay, so let's say one of these factors goes too high or low. What is the
Okay, we have a question that says, what kind of things needs to be kept constant within the body. Blood sugar levels needs to be kept constant. Temperature needs to be kept, and water levels also have to be kept constant.
The brain going to do to get it back to the normal levels? The answer to that is negative feedback. Negative feedback is the process where the brain uses either a hormone or a nervous system to send a signal to the part of the body that can rectify the problem. For example, after you eat a meal, your blood sugar level increases. You can see it on this graph. This is detected and the pancreas will release a hormone called insulin that causes the sugar to be stored in the liver.
If any of the factors controlled by homeostasis goes too high or too low, what is the process to get it back to normal levels called? Negative feedback.
Therefore, as you can see on the graph, the blood sugar level returns to normal. Negative feedback is the loop from which the body detects a stimulus, reacts by responding accordingly, and brings the body back to the normal levels. So why is homeostasis so important? Our metabolism, which is all the chemical reactions in our bodies that keep us alive, is controlled by enzymes. These enzymes only work in very specific conditions. If these conditions change, they could stop working and we could die. Luckily, all this happens without you having to think about it. If you had to do it yourself, you would spend.
Okay. We have the summary dialogue that says homeostasis means maintaining a constant internal environment, or does it mean maintaining a constant external environment? The first statement will be the correct statement. Waste products in the blood, such as carbon dioxide and urea, do not have to be monitored. Waste products in the blood, such as carbon dioxide and urea, have to be monitored. Diabetes is a condition in which the blood glucose concentration is higher than normal. Type 1 diabetes is usually the result if the pancreas fails to secrete enough insulin. What are symptoms of diabetes? We have high overflow of glucose into the urine, excessive thirst, hunger, and urine production. We also have premature aging and cataract formation, hardening of arteries. These are some of the symptoms of diabetes. And what is the treatment for diabetes? The treatment is by regular injection of pure insulin, a hormone that reduces blood glucose concentration. Here will be insulin. Maintenance of a constant internal body temperature in mammals. When the temperature of the blood rises above 37 degrees Celsius, the sweat glands release more sweat and the sweat evaporates. Arteries in the skin dilate, and that is the muscular walls relax, which is called vasodilation. More blood flows beneath the skin in this instance. But when the temperature of the blood falls below 37 degrees Celsius or centigrade, sweating is reduced, arteries in the skin constrict, that is, their muscular walls constrict, and this phenomenon is called vasoconstriction. Fat in the dermis of the skin acts as an insulator, and it is worthy of noting that less blood flows beneath the skin in this situation of vasoconstriction. So if we're asked, vasoconstriction occurs when the weather is warm. Is this true or false? That would be false because it's clearly stated that it's it is when the temperature falls below 37 degrees Celsius that vasoconstriction occurs. So that would be cold weather, not warm. Maintenance of a constant internal body temperature in mammals continued. Continued to generate more heat if the process of vasoconstriction is inadequate. Shivering, a muscular activity, generates heat, and a person may take warm drinks or add extra clothing for insulation. Eating more stimulates heat production, that is, it increases sweating. A scientist investigated the effect of drinking iced water on skin temperature. The, They drank a large volume of iced water, which explanation is correct for changing skin temperature when within the first 10 minutes. Vasoconstriction occurred, increasing blood flow to the skin. No, vasoconstriction occurred, reducing blood flow to the skin. Yes. We have another activity here. The question says, which role matches each hormone to its function? Causes the growth of facial hair, that'll be testosterone. Reduces blood glucose concentration, that'll be insulin. Repairs the lining of the uterus, estrogen hormone. Widens the pupils, adrenaline. So D would be our correct option. Let's check. Yeah, that was correct. On this slide, we have another activity showing us the picture of the skin, and it says which labeled part is a hair erector muscle? That would be A. C. That was correct. Thank you for thank you for staying tuned to Edubbey Global Solutions. Remember to check us out on www.edubbey.com